In today's video, you'll learn how to make this animated tiki window. It's an afternoon project and it's easier than you might think. I'm starting with this old TV. It's a 26-inch, and the only criteria I really wanted to make sure is that I could play a video from a USB flash drive. I'm starting with a piece of 1x3 lumber. This is pretty cheap at Lowe's. It's 8 feet long, and I think this cost me about $6. So I'm going to start with one end. I have this cheap miter box that I bought at Harbor Freight, and along with the saw was only $10. And I'm going to make my first miter cut in that direction. It's a pretty easy tool to use. You just line up your wood here, and then there are guides that will be a perfect 45-degree angle. And when you're done, you'll have that perfect 45-degree cut. Now I want to make sure the frame at least covers this border. When I measure that, it's about 23 inches. I'm going to call it 22.5, just to make sure that none of that edge is exposed. So when you're finished, you'll have a piece like this, and that length should measure the inside width of whatever your TV measures, whatever you want to be seen. And this might be a good time to point out for my project, I'm using the rough sawn lumber. This is for a tiki bar. It's supposed to look a little rough, a little rugged. If you want to finish yours, sand it off, that'd be fine. But you're going to see how this wraps up for me. I use the first piece to measure off where I want the second piece cut, because I want these two to be exactly the same, because they're going to be the top and bottom of my frame. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the vertical measurement, and it's almost exactly 13 inches. So I'm going to go with about 12 3/4. So this is where we are right now, and that opening is going to be slightly smaller than my screen, because I want to make sure that no frame from the screen is showing. And now we're going to screw and glue these corners. And why I'm going to do that is, first I'm going to drill a pilot hole. 2 would be best. And then I'm going to make sure that my screw can fit there. So if I put it here, you're not getting much bite. So I might put one there and one there. And that way they'll pull together. The reason you want to do a pilot hole is you don't want to split the wood. Also, I'm going to countersink this. So I'm going to look at the size of the head, and I'm going to drill a countersink, which is just a smaller hole that only goes as deep as that head. So that'll go flush. So I'm going to draw them together in this clamp, and then I'm going to drill and drive my screws. And here it is, glued and screwed together. This miter isn't real clean. I attribute that to a cheap miter box, but it's going to work for our purposes. I'm going to let this dry, let this set up a little bit. Then I'm going to stain it with a dark stain. Now it's time to stain. I'm going to use this walnut stain, just because I happen to have it. And typically when you stain, you brush the stain on and then you wipe it off. So I'm going to use this cheap brush, disposable. I don't want to have to clean it afterwards. And then I'll just have some paper towel to wipe it off. And it should look just fine when we're done. Now for the bamboo. And those of you who are astute will notice I changed my shirt. That's because when I work with things like stains and paints, I always get it all over my clothes, so I change into something really sloppy. So I once bought these tiki lamps. I found them for $1.95 each at it was like an antique store, flea market type thing. And the reason I got them was for the poles. So I'm going to cut 2, maybe 3 of these to the length that is the same width as my frame. And then I'm going to split them in 2. Okay, so here is my vertical piece. I'm going to have one on each end. So I'm going to split this. Bamboo splits really easily. All I'm going to do is put my machete across there, give it a few taps, and this will split very nicely the whole length. There you go. I have two half pieces. So these are going to work really well on my frame. And they're both exactly the same length because they're cut from the same piece. Now here's why I wasn't so concerned about that weak joint, because everything's going to be reinforced with the bamboo. So I'm going to start with a bamboo strip going vertically. Now you could fill the whole thing up with bamboo. I don't think I'm going to. I'm probably going to frame it in bamboo and then have a couple of slats going across the middle and call it a day. But maybe, we'll see. Anyway, when you are going to do this, always pre-drill the hole, because as you saw, bamboo splits very easily. So I'm going to make sure that I drill a hole big enough for this whole screw to go through, and then we'll put it right through there. And I tried to get screws that were very similar to the color of the bamboo. I think we did pretty well. So that's what we have so far. Now, if we want to add bamboo, I can continue, especially on the top and bottom. We could fit them in there too. I'm not going to right now. It'd be easy enough to do that at a later date. But right now, we're gonna see how the TV fits. So I outlined the TV, and you can see where the TV is going to go. I have that all the way around it. So what I'm going to have to do is put some kind of guide pins on here. And that can be almost anything. I'm going to use a couple screws. Just like that. So now when this is upright, this face is going to be aligned and it'll be kind of hanging from these screws. So now all we have to do is make it have something to pull it tight to the face of the TV. You can use almost anything for that. You can use Velcro, you can use clips. I'm going to use some elastic straps on each corner, some elastic bands. I think it's going to work pretty well. And that should be enough to hold it on. I bought some furniture tacks, and that's about 1/4 inch elastic. Only has to hold it to the face of the TV. If you want to add some Velcro, it might not hurt. And now it's time to hang the TV on the wall. I just bought a standard flush bracket from Amazon for about $15. I attached a mounting bracket to the wall, just following instructions. I won't go over it in detail on this video. And the TV is in place. Now we're going to hang on the frame. So we're going to have to stretch the elastic over that and bring it down so it rests, and stretch the elastic over the bottom. And there's our window. When you're sipping a cocktail in a tiki bar, you might want to look out the window and see what's happening outside.